Hello, hello everyone. How are you? I'm going to fix the lighting here. It's getting out. I have a little bit of sunlight coming in, so some shadow, like, oh, I keep thinking that side. It's this side. Well, oh well, we have a little, we roll with it. We roll with it, right? Ooh, child, hello. Good morning. Can you hear me? Can you put a thumbs up if you can hear me? Whew. I'm coming to this one close to the line. I was looking at a clock that was actually running behind by 10 minutes. And so I am running behind by 10 minutes. So that's just the way it be sometimes, right? But Blazer wants to say hi. So one moment, we'll get him up here, I think. Blaze, do you want to say hello? All right, there's my sound. We're good. Ashley, hello. Come here, Blaze. Here's the baby. He's a bit shaggy and a little bit messy and putting up with mommy today. Look at that beard. No, you don't want him to see your beard? Can you say hi to the people? Maybe this way? Can you say hi? Hey, they're in there. Right there. He's a sweetie. You're probably going to hear him bark. You may hear some basketball being played outside. That's fine. This is real life. We're going to hear things. I've got some wind chimes too. Maybe you'll get to hear that. How's everyone doing? I see some thumbs up. I see a wave. Tress is here. Hello. Thank you for being here. I'm getting the cards ready still. Tell me how you all are doing. So, is everyone aware that we just had in the wee hours of the morning, a solar eclipse in Aries? This is the second eclipse of the month. That's why I'm wearing red, because Aries is a fiery, action-oriented, move fast, prone to anger kind of sign, right? And I've got it in my chart. Many people do. If you have Aries or first house energies, you may be feeling it somewhere. And I'm understanding, if I remember correctly, from one of the astrologers I like listening to, Molly. Hi, Anna. Molly McCord, she said it's 9 degrees of Aries where we would be experiencing this eclipse. So I know another one of the things that she was sharing was that there's going to be these kind of like a different relationship with time, like a time dilation kind of thing. And I lost 10 minutes this morning because I was looking at the wrong clock. I was looking at a clock that runs on a battery and just, getting ready, doing my thing. And then I sat down at the computer to what I thought I had 30 minutes left to set up the live. And whoa, I was like, oh, I only have 10 minutes. I wanted to go the other way where time opens up, where I have more time. So yeah, let me know how you're doing in the chat. Everybody said good morning. How has the solar eclipse? Did you guys feel it? Did you sleep well? Were your dreams crazy? Tell me a little bit about how it feels to you. Or does it just nothing? Like you just feel like it's another day? Because sometimes that happens too, where you have kind of this relationship with it where when it happens, you don't necessarily feel it. Some of you may have felt the energy leading up to the eclipse. And of course, it's going to express in different ways for different people. Sleeping is off. Dreams are crazy. Increased fatigue, definitely not a usual day. Okay. Yeah, fair enough with that, Anna. I hear that. Yeah, I feel like I have crazy dreams every night almost. Well. And I'm not very good at journaling dreams. I need to get better at that. I need to figure out, I think there's some really cool journaling apps, like free journaling apps that you can put on your phone. Nicole says dreams do be crazy. Yeah, so yeah, and Nicole pops in and I'm reminded of the Pisces energy. She's got that Pisces moon. There's a whole lot of Neptune stuff going on right now too, which is the ruler of Pisces. And so dreamy dream time, things coming through from the subconscious bubbling up. It's going to be probably going to be pretty intense and interesting for us. Ashley woke up at 2:30 this morning and couldn't go back to sleep. Yeah, that would be it. That would be it. Maybe just feeling and sensing. And I think the solar eclipse was only visible to people in like Africa and Europe. So we wouldn't have been able to see it, but it doesn't mean we can't feel it, right? So very interesting. So I'm in my red today for Aries season. I got the red Aloha. And then I've got Ruby is my birthstone. And then I've got a rune on this little Thor hammer, this Mjolnir. The rune I'm wearing is a Turisaz, and it means thorn or Thor. And I really like it for just extra protection. Usually I put my bracelets on. I forgot those, so you won't have to listen to those jingle around today, which will be good. So welcome everyone. I definitely have some OGs here. People have been with me on this journey for a while. Chanley, hello. And then there may be some new subscribers on. So welcome to Frequency Friday. I'm not even sure what episode this is. I've been doing this for quite some time now, and just really enjoy coming on and providing the messages for the collective that are of importance. So what I did, just to explain this last week, I polled my audience here on YouTube, and I polled my viewers on Instagram as well, and asked what kind of breakout readings that everyone was going to want to, to help them, because I'm doing this for y'all. Yes, it's for me, but it's for y'all too, and I want those breakout readings to be super helpful. And so I gave options like love and relationships. What else was it? Maybe it was like health and something like that. I can't even remember what the options were now, because one stood out so much, and that was that people wanted to focus on their personal growth and soul development. And so what kind of came to be throughout the week as I was watching the results come in was really that people are feeling challenges with different things. And it all depends on their blueprints, their astrology, their personality, their experiences in life as to what it might look like for them and what the challenges might be. So I'm going to get into the really cool breakout readings that were birthed out of this inspiration based on the choices that the viewers have made. So that's really, really exciting. I really loved getting that feedback. And so we're going to get into some cool themes in the breakout sessions. I'm going to get into some reminders here. And I'm writing down timestamps. And one of the first reminders is, thank you all for being live. I hope you can hang out for a while, do what you do, hang out. You can pop in, say hello. You can pop out. You can pop back in. But also, you'll have access to the replay, of course. That will be published, and we'll have timestamps. So, you got to do what works for your schedule. But if you're just around the house cleaning or doing something, it might be fun to kind of listen and see what stands out to you today. So I hope you can stay on live, but I understand what it's like to be busy and you can't do everything. So that's why we always have like the timestamps for you. Every other Sunday evening, I go live for live Q&A where you can come on. You have to be a subscriber, because I feel like I'm investing in you, you invest in me, the law of equal give and take, right? And for those Q&As, you can come on and ask a question and get just a free mini reading. Okay, so those are really fun. We have an awesome community that has been showing up consistently on those Sunday nights. And the next one, let me check my calendar. It's not this Sunday. So we're going to be in April 6th. April 6th, and then it looks like I'll be live on Easter as well. Ostara, right? So the 20th. So the 6th and the 20th are the April dates that are coming up. And I just saw something change up here on the likes. Make sure that you like this video. So in your chat, if you're in the live chat on your mobile device, there's like 3 little dots at the top. I think if you hit those little dots, it will like bring you kind of a description page and you can pop on a like. That really helps bring more people into the live and support the algorithms, pushing what you like. So be sure to do that for the people you like to listen to because it helps them. Oh, okay. Yes, you may post questions on Sunday. So on the Sundays you come on, it's 7 to 8 p.m. Central Standard Time on Sundays. And I recommend coming in earlier than later because sometimes the questions do build up and I run out of time. But you can pop in, drop a question, and then I will go in order and answer the questions. I usually pull about 3 or 4 cards for you when I'm doing your little mini reading. So it's nice because you get that kind of quick check-in for whatever it is you're looking for. Everyone has such amazing questions. They're coming on with some really great questions. Yes. So I'm at Central Time and I could tell Chanley because you put 11:11. Happy 11:11 to you. It's 10:12 now here, but I could see you're already ringing in the 11:11. I definitely see that number quite a bit. So yes, you could come on, post a question. It's a great time. It's a great community. Everyone's really supportive. It's always so fascinating how people can relate to one another. And that community is meant to uplift and inspire. Like everything on my channel, we're here to grow and evolve. We're not here to find more division and angst and, argument. I like to try to find the places where we overlap as humans and where we can build lovely communities together. And I think that's amazing. That's what Creators on the Crest is about. So, yeah, so I have tarot cards today. I have oracle cards today. I already had an idea, luckily, because I was kind of strapped for time. I had an idea of what decks I was going to use, and a couple surprises popped out. But yeah, we'll be getting into that. Reminders also. So I am right now, I have the water signs out for my latest set of readings. They're going to say Timeless Tarot. I've done Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. Okay. All of them have been recorded. I'm just editing and getting them scheduled. So I plan to get Gemini out sometime today. And then also, I'm working on editing an episode of my podcast, Real Life Mages. And I hope to have that out soon. Those always take the longest to edit because they run a little bit longer. But I actually, if she's still on, Teresa is someone I interviewed. She's from Yourself Evolved, and you can find her on Instagram there. So another good way if you're on that platform to connect with like-minded, like-hearted person. So yes, Teresa was my special guest. We got into her experience having near-death experiences and traumatic brain injury and how that affected her life and how it changed her. And wow, to be able to come back from things like that and to have it be something that awakens you and aligns you with your purpose, it's quite powerful. So, yes, yes. Nicole is busy, busy, busy. I believe it. Working, unloading the dishwasher. Yeah. Finding the potent present moments as you're doing housework, right? Which I have a lot of it to do. That's one of the things that I'm trying to catch up on in our household. We've got kids coming and going. We've got parents that have passed in the last 5 years, and we've got stuff, right? And we've got road work going on outside, and they're going to try to have the neighborhood garage sale at the same time, and it's probably not going to work. And in all of this, it's just giving yourself grace. It's being patient with yourself. It's if the timing on one thing doesn't work out, there's usually a reason, and you can have that happen at a different time. But sometimes we get so fixated on our original plan and what we want, we forget to flex. And so, maybe that's one of the messages today is to be flexible with yourself. So you're going to hear trucks coming by as I'm talking about the construction. There's excavators, who knows what, little skid steers, those kinds of things. So, okay, so the timeless readings are coming out, and then I'm getting ready to record the April readings, and that's going to be super duper exciting. So that we're going to kind of celebrate Aries, all of our Aries people and their birthdays and everything like that. So say hi to each other in the chat. I see some of you interacting, saying hello. And yeah, it's just awesome to have you all here. So am I forgetting anything? Probably, but we'll come back to it later. I want to get some collective messages for this eclipse for us. So I'm going to pop down a timestamp here for our collective messages. And I'm going to start off with the Sacred Traveler's Oracle here. I definitely want to see what the Sacred Traveler has to say. I love this deck as a soul-inspired deck. This is by Denise Lynn. And I don't know if she used to be on Hay House quite a bit. I don't know if she's still kicking over there. I haven't listened to that in a while because I've been building my own stuff. But yeah, I really like her personality. She has a farm, loves her chickens. At least she used to talk about them a lot. Does anyone have chickens? I'm so jealous if you do. And if you have chickens, do you live close to me so I can pay you for eggs? That's a thing now, isn't it? All right, we're going to pull a couple cards. Ooh, I like this. I like these cards from the Sacred Traveler. And then we're going to get a card here from this is the Shaman's Dream. I like using this one too. Yeah, I'd love to hear. What do you guys think? When I say shaman, what does that make you think? When you think shamanic, do you think of like someone drumming in the woods, or do you find that you have shamanic energies that you work with day to day? I'm just very curious because I think some people have a propensity toward being in those kind of energies. So, okay. Let's get into these collective messages for the eclipse. One of the things that comes up, and I'm going to go with the Shaman's Oracle first, is a closing door completion. It's a number 5. Number 5 tells me that it's been pretty tense. It's been a pretty tense part of the process to get this door closed, to have an ending with something or an ending of a cycle. And since we still have a crack in the door here and some things are coming through, I think you may still feel at times like you're on the darker side of things and maybe you're moving toward this light. So when we're in the middle and experiencing these big eclipses, we just had the spring equinox here in the northern hemisphere, these big changes, these times of change, it can be, we want the ending to be, we want it to end already. Like, can I be done with this already? Can I be done with this lesson? Can I be done with this cycle? Can I be done with this responsibility, whatever it is, this burden, right? And understanding that endings also have a range of time that they happen over. We don't often get that clear cut, it's over, it's ended. Sometimes, yes. Sometimes it's a cord being pulled and it's done, right? Other times it takes time. And that's what I'm getting from this card. There's still it feels like a bit of drudgery for some of you. And I know that sounds kind of painful and dark, but that's what it feels like to me. Like, it feels like your feet are heavy and you're trying to move toward this new beginning, toward what lies beyond the closing door, but it's just a little hard. And you know what? You're probably dancing right along with the universe here because we have a few planets in retrograde right now. And that can definitely affect our pace with reaching the closing, that door that is closing, and where we're going to be, on what side of the door are we going to be here. So it's very interesting. And the reason I wanted to show you that first is because of what comes up next. And so the universe is letting us know collectively, you can overcome anything. So you may feel like this door is closing. It's kind of reminding me of, like, I'm a Star Wars fan, an OG Star Wars fan, y'all. So it reminds me of, like, when the blast doors are closing and Han Solo has to, like, dive through and do a somersault to get through the closing blast door. That's what this is kind of reminding me of. So some of us feel like, oh, we just got to make it before that door closes so we could get to the other side, And here we're being reassured yes, we can overcome obstacles. They may look extremely hard. We may need that sword that's stuck in that stone there. What kind of energy can we be in that's going to allow us to pull the sword from the stone? If we're anxious, if we're forceful, if we're bringing too much energy toward it, or too little, if we're scared and apprehensive, then it's going to be hard. How can you get yourself into, and I'm going to tell you how in a minute, but I want you to think of it first. How can you get yourself in the right kind of energy to calmly walk up and pull this sword out of the stone with confidence and security, and just knowing that you can do it, that you can overcome anything. So there's something in the energies that wants to be balanced here. And so to help us with overcoming the obstacles, because that door is closing, we may want to run and grab this sword and like jam it in the door and, to pry it open for us, right? We have that kind of energy trying to push us forward. And then we have another energy pulling us back. And we are meant to embrace and what is it? Embrace an embodiment. Embody grace and gratitude. Through gratitude, joy expands. All right. So this comes up all the time. These are catchwords. Ask Nicole. She knows that I always say, give yourself grace, right? And then she reminds me to give myself grace. And at the moment when you need to give yourself grace the most is usually the moment where your nervous system is like, and it can be tricky to get into a calmer space, right? So no one's saying that this life journey is easy, but we also want to acknowledge our power when we get into some of these more helpful energies like grace and gratitude. Gratitude as well. And I was just listening on Instagram. There's a gentleman that I got to see live last December. His name is Dr. Don Wood. And I love his stuff. I love the way his angle, the way he approaches things. So he's like a psychologist. And he talked about how when you know that your mind will get into some sort of negative thought rut, and you feel that spinning, and you know that it can cause you to spiral, as the young kids say, I'm spiraling, right? I'm spiraling. It can cause that downward spiral kind of effect. Yeah, he said that what you want to do is prepare a little bit in advance. So if you're hearing this message now, maybe this is your chance to prepare. And he said, prepare the top 3 things that you can be grateful for that are going well in your life. And they can be even very simple things, right? Like you drank more water than you normally do and you're proud of yourself. It can be any number of things. Your kid, right? You're going to be seeing someone graduate and you're excited for them, or whatever your 3 grateful things are. And so when that, what you would perceive as a negative, comes in and you start to get on the top of that spiral and you're like, oh, I might go down with this. What you do is, he said, first close your eyes, which I think is great because you're going to remove the sensory experience of vision. It's going to reset you. So you close your eyes and you bring to mind just at first, just one of your top three things that you can be grateful for. And you spend a moment really envisioning that. So if it's like seeing someone you love graduate, or celebrating a party, or whatever it is for you, it could be one of your own achievements. It could be a relationship you have with someone that makes you feel good. And so you bring that to mind. And then he said to open your eyes and focus on the first thing you see, no matter how mundane it might be, right? So like if I'm opening my eyes, I see one of my lighting fixtures that I use for videos, right? And you just kind of focus on that for a moment. And that process helps give you that reset to prevent you from going down the spiral. So I think that's just an interesting little story, and interesting that this always happens. You guys know it happens. It happens to y'all too, because you've told me. When you're getting ready to do something and you're moving along, you there's things that kind of lead up to it. So leading up to this live, I always hear the things I need to hear to share with you that come up in the energies. And I think a lot of you experience that as well. Oh, Michael Diamond's on. Hey, Michael Diamond's here. All right. So that is awesome. Good to see you. Yay. All right. I'm just kind of looking here. Shaman gives me ancestor vibes. Yep, that's cool. Shaman to me seems mysterious and all knowing at the same time. Yeah, yeah. So the shamanic energies, and those of you that might have like the Pisces energy in your chart could maybe relate to this a little bit more. And it is really an ability to marry the spiritual and the physical together. That's shamanic work. And that's just one way of describing it. I think it does have that mutability where we can let it be what it is for us, but I love the idea of being able to blend, the spiritual into the physical, with ease and that grace and gratitude, right? There's no way to do that unless you're in that particular energy there. So, all right, let's get a few more cards for the collective here. I want to go all oracle right now. So, I want to go to the Wild Mystic. I've been really liking this deck lately. It's animals, and it's got a beautiful like black, white, and gold color to it. So I would like to see, what would the collective benefit from hearing as it applies to having grace and gratitude during times of completion and overcoming obstacles. So we're going to get two. Ooh. So we got a little bit of Leo energy here. We got the courage showing up, and what a beautiful image this is. And I know I have at least one Leo. Do I have more Leo energy on board? I've got Venus in Leo. But this is that lion's roar. This is that vibration. And some of you may want to use your voice with this. Have you ever just worked with the animals in such a way that you roar like them? There's even a yoga technique of lion's breath. These kinds of things can be super helpful to get your physical body on board with it. Leo energy, it's center stage. It knows how to grasp your attention, right? It knows how to have presence, and to have presence with your courage is so, so important. So, not only are we going to extend ourselves grace and gratitude and use these practices to help propel ourselves, we're going to have courage. And it's not going to matter if we have a zit, if our hair's out of place, if our nails aren't done, if the room is not clean. We're going to move forward in these energies anyway, because we know that the courage to be ourselves and to be real and authentic is so incredibly important during this time of great illusion, right? And that's shamanic energy. That's shamanic energy. Being able to navigate this physical realm, right? Where there's all this illusion and confusion and violence, and to navigate it with, the shaman's heart, and to step up and have courage. And what in your life, I'm guided to ask you, what in your life inspires courage in you? I know for me, it's my children, my friends, my pet, that mama bear. For me, it's a mama bear energy. I'm a Cancer. I can't help it. I get in the mama mode and I want to protect. So when someone I love is done wrong, that's not okay, right? And I'm quick to want to cancel whatever has wronged the person I love. So think about it in regards to your own energies, right? You may be more like the lion where you're going to jump out of the bushes and, take it down, right? So yeah, what can you have help you fuel your courage? And yeah, kids will do it, right? Kids totally will help us with that. Now, what the other energy we got is Scorpio energy. So we got Leo. Is this because Michael Diamond showed up? Because he's a Leo sun and a Scorpio moon, y'all. We got the death card here. All right. So the dance of the lion and the scorpion. How interesting, right? Something so small that packs so much venom, right? So much of a punch. The death card. And here we have a moth. I love the moth. People love butterflies, right? Well, I love the moth. The moth gives us a unique perspective on the shadows. Yeah. And Nicole says, purpose definitely gives me courage. It demands it. Yes, when you're in alignment with your purpose, with your vision, with your mission, courage comes along with it because it's necessary. Absolutely. So here, back to the moth, back to death and transformation. And I'm thinking a little bit coming up there. But what popped into my mind was like when leaves fall from the trees, this energy is giving that energy of like decay, and how the decay at first can be like if you walk upon like a wet pile and maybe there's a dead animal in there and it has a smell and everything's decaying and it's like it's unpleasant, right? The transformative process can be unpleasant because there are things that are dying off. There are energies that are dying off. There are thought forms and beliefs that we've adopted that are dying off. And that process of decay is really coming up. But it's so important. And what does that do, right? It feeds the soil. The decay of the nutrients that were in what needed to die off feeds the new soil. So this is a collective time of really, taking up the sword, having courage, but also the wisdom to know what needs to die away, what needs to decay, what needs to break down, right? And I think a lot of us are feeling that in the collective. A lot of us look at society and think, what is going on, right? We're witnessing a decaying old way of doing things, right? And so of course there's a lot of confusion and how's it going to land and what's it going to look like on the other side of this door, collectively and personally for us, right? So really, really interesting messages here for the collective today. I really like those messages. Okay, I'm going to take a deep breath. And I'm going to put a timestamp here for describing the breakout readings today. Okay, so you all wanted personal growth, soul growth, and development, right? That's what we're going for. So here we go. All right. And I keep saying these four things. I never wrote them down, so I'm going to write them down this time in the order with which they come up. So the first one is people struggling with confidence and esteem. All right. Raise your hand if you're one of these people who struggled with this. I'm raising my hand high. My closest friends know I have dealt with this. And, I, in 2020, when everything, that which, I'm not going to say, but everybody knows what happened in early 2020. About a month after that initial lockdown, I was in the middle of a detox, and we were working on getting into the liver for me. And we were in kind of a phase 2 with my functional medicine person at the time. And I was going through some relationship issues and all kinds of weird, crazy energies personally. And then the lockdown, right? And luckily I have a couple friends that were like lifelines. I hope you all had your lifelines, your family, your friends during that time. But I started, it started off kind of slow, but I started getting, my gosh, my body's still releasing the energy, y'all, because I almost can't say it. I started getting acne rosacea on my face. And so what people would tell me at the time was, oh, well, it's a good time to go through that because you can just wear a mask and cover it up. And my face was burning. Little eruptive spots were forming all over. I still have scarring from it. I don't know whether you can see it or not, but you can see some of it maybe on my forehead, my chin. It was bad, y'all, really bad. And to even put anything over my face would be, and I wasn't personally, for me, if I wasn't around people, I wasn't, and I was keeping healthy, I didn't like wearing that anyway. But to put it on a burning face that was already irritated, and so it's one of those things, unless you've been through something like that, where you've had like a bad rash. It was on my face where everyone could see. It wasn't like, hidden on my chest or I could cover it up. It was very difficult and it would burn and then it would kind of erupt and then it would dry out and get crusty. And it took, because I like to heal things naturally. I went to the dermatologist. They wanted to put me on doxycycline. And I didn't want to take antibiotics and destroy my gut. I had just done all this detoxing and healing of my organs and my gut and everything. That's the last thing I wanted to do, was get rid of all that good flora that I'd been working on getting. I had lost weight. I was in this good space otherwise, right? And but I had this process that I was wearing on my face. And through lots of tears and angst and everything, the support of a few of my close friends, I really came to learn that was connected to the confidence. I mean, I had been talking about starting my channel, coming out here, having the courage to be live. I was starting to build that up. The courage it was going to take me to leave the corporate environment and risk, that solid, steady paycheck and everything to move toward my mission and my purpose. And my face erupts, and I'm like, what the F is going on? Like, so it was a year long to heal myself naturally. All right. Now, probably it had a little bit to do with whatever was getting released, whatever was buried in the liver, right? Because the liver is the organ that detoxes us, right? So there was a lot of stuck energy in there. And a lot of us have that, right? And yeah, I drank in college, but I've never been a big drinker. So it wasn't like an alcohol thing. It's like a sensitivity thing. It's like so much, so many toxins have begun to go into my diet. I'm gluten sensitive now. I can't have gluten very much. If I have too much, I start to get red on my nose, or I start to get itchy eyes and just random itches on the body. So I really have to clear it out, right? I really have to make sure I'm cleared out of that kind of thing. So courage and esteem. So it all kind of came back to that. I needed to level up in my ability to step forward no matter what. Okay. No matter what, the universe was teaching me that you are being called to your purpose. You're being called to work with others in a much different way than what the corporate environment can allow you to do. And so we're going to, co-create this experience with you so that you can stand by and stand with and not abandon yourself no matter what. So that's my story. But confidence and esteem, that can, think about high school, y'all. Ugh. you know, think about middle school, high school times and how our confidence esteem was affected and the things we went through and the bullying and the peer pressure and all of that stuff. No wonder as adults we have trouble with confidence and esteem. So that's going to be one of the breakout readings. The next one is going to be trouble with motivation. So you have these thoughts and you have these goals and you have these visions and you feel called towards something, right? But every morning when you wake up, something else comes up. You got to clean the house. Somebody needs you. Your kids need something. You're too tired. You're laid out. You got a migraine. Whatever it is, right? It can be very hard to get the momentum to stay motivated in something. Now, what we saw in the collective reading, I think some of that will help with this, some of remembering what we're grateful for and giving ourselves grace. I think recently I was, Nicole says procrastination. Yes, that's another one. Procrastination nation. Who's with it? I have done that. I procrastinated getting going on this channel for 2 years at least, maybe more. Okay. Because I had to talk myself. I was like constantly talking myself into it. Right. But yes, procrastination nation here. Right. And I think sometimes when we shy away from motivation, or we just don't have any, it's just gone, or we don't know how to get motivated. I think it can be a fear of our own greatness, because we know when we're aligned with our purpose and our vision, no matter what it is, no matter how the world will judge it, no matter if it's forward facing or behind the scenes, because all are important. But when we're faced with that and you really are in alignment with that, you're like, wow, that lights me up. That lights me up, and it's going to cause me to live my best life. And some of us can be really frightened to step into that highest version of ourselves, that best version. It's constantly unfolding. And once you get on that people mover, it's taking you. It's kind of like once you step on, it's going to take some effort and energy to try to climb over. Oh, the people mover's moving too fast. I can't do this. To keep that momentum going with it is tricky, right? And then you have your days. You'll still have your days where you feel like absolute poo. I Since I was 33, I've had recurring migraines. Anybody who's had migraine headaches, anybody who has flares from like what's it called, fibromyalgia, MS, stuff like that, you have flares, it takes you out. It takes you out, and it doesn't just take you out for an hour. It takes the whole day. And so when you're building motivation and you come up upon one of those physical ailments and it knocks you out, is really hard, because you're like, damn it. And so when we're working with motivation, my whole point is here is it's easy to feel like we're in like a cycle of self-sabotage. And so in those moments when we're having some real ailment, that it's like, no, I'm not at my best today, and the best thing I can do for myself and everyone I serve is to lay in bed in a cold dark room and wait for it to pass, hydrate myself, whatever you need to do to take care of yourself. So we need that grace extended to ourselves. So motivation, man, motivation. Procrastination, since Nicole brought it up, I think I'm going to add that to the mix. We'll do motivation and procrastination, right? We'll do a reading for that. Woo! Okay. And so that felt so big. I'm trying to think of what the other things were. Okay, so how about this? And this is kind of maybe the flip side of motivation procrastination would be trouble relaxing. Who has trouble relaxing? Who finds themselves in a mental or emotional state or a nervous system kind of state where they cannot relax? Trouble with relaxing, right? And feeling on edge. This might be people who are dealing with anxiety. You feel very anxious, nervous energies, right? So we'll do relaxing. We'll do a reading for relaxing. And then lastly, one of the things that I know I've worked with, because leaving the world of steady paychecks is a risk. It's a risk. It's a huge leap. It's requires a lot more of you, and it requires you to make shifts, requires you make a lot of shifts in your life. It requires you to check things like your spending. So if you have trouble with spending or saving, like maybe you do okay and you know money and resources are coming in, but as soon as they come in they go out. That's a thing. Some people get them and then they're gone like right away. They have trouble getting into that cycle of let me squirrel a little bit away, because sometimes you know people honestly do because they're behind. You know, you got the mortgage or the rent, you got this, you got that, you got the other, and so it can be really hard. But then there's also that aspect when it comes to our relationship with money and resources that we try to make ourselves better by spending. And I have done this. I have done this. Has anybody gone through their stuff and then looked back like something that maybe you got 3 or 4 years ago and you're like, why did I ever spend money on this, right? Why did I do that? What frame of mind was I in? Nicole says, look, I didn't know I was coming here to be personally attacked. Oh yeah, these things, I honestly have struggled with every one of them as well, right? So they're very relatable, and this is what you all wanted. This is what y'all voted for. So yeah, I mean, I have definitely spent unwisely, and it takes a lot of energy and focus to really make those decisions. You know, obviously we need things like food and whatnot, right? But when it comes to you know, and sometimes when we have the money, we don't want to save it because man, we want to treat ourselves. We worked hard for it, or it doesn't come around very often, right? And so then we get into all the emotional states that are connected to that, right? And then there's just different phases in our lives where we're in these places. So everybody's story is unique and different. So what I'm asking for is for our creators community for the best, highest and best messages that are going to uplift, empower, and inspire you, even through these really challenging scenarios. That's what we're going for with these readings today. So I just wanted to mention that and do it. So shall we get started? I think we shall. Confidence and esteem. Ah! So while I'm shuffling, you know, I'm going to head over to the tarot. We've got the Wizard's Tarot because we're going to work some magic here for ourselves. But yes, donated. Yep, donations. There's all kinds of relationships to the resources. But while I'm doing this, I want to hear about anything you would like to share. Michael shared, he has a Capricorn, Black Moon, Lilith in the third house. See, I love this. I love when people get into their own astrology because it's a lot. Astrology is a lifelong study. Tarot is a lifelong study. It's an art and science, but when you start to look into your own chart, it starts helping you understand. Oh, no wonder these are the influences that I signed up for, right? So he has this Black Moon Lilith in the third house for fear of success and being seen, right? Fear of our own greatness, trouble with confidence and esteem. What do we need to know if we relate to this? Oh. Okay. Okay, so I'll start off with what we got here and then we'll pull a couple more cards. But starting off, we got the Five of Wands. It kind of reminds me a bit of that closing door kind of energy, except that in this particular deck, these wizards, they're all, you know, what I would call master wizards here. And it almost looks like they're practicing together. Okay. So when it comes to confidence and esteem, you want those people around you who are going to pull you to the edge, but they pull you to the edge in a safe way, in a constructive way, in a way that your skills and your comfort and their skills and their comfort can be honored. Each of these wizards has on like a different outfit. It looks like they have a different magic tool that they're using. And these are the kind of people that we want in our most challenging moments when we are trying to gain that self-esteem and that confidence. We're building that up for ourselves. So we're going to go into this. This can happen for some of you if anyone's ever done martial arts. that can be a really good environment with, a sensei and other people that are at the same belt level. They can typically, I can't speak for all martial arts, but I know when I did, what did I do? I always forget it. Aikido. When I did Aikido and I went through some shit, man. That stuff, that when I was doing Aikido, it brought up some shit. First of all, I was a definite beginner. I didn't know how to take anybody down. Okay. I didn't know how to defend myself or do any of it. And so, this is the kind of energy where whatever it is you're studying or you're doing, even if it's, being seen for the first time, booking your first client, whatever you're doing, writing, hello, Anna, writing, publishing, right? You want people who are going to, hey, be able to tell you have a typo on page 94, right? But they're like, but this is amazing and I support you. And yes, I'm going to challenge you. I'm going to challenge you to your best because I know that's what you want out of me in a friendship. And so to me, this feels like a bit of a helpful training ground and surrounding ourselves with these kind of wizards in our life, right? So think about who the wizards are in your life and who you would go into, a rocky field by the desert or the ocean or wherever you want to imagine. It almost feels like they're out somewhere way far away from everybody else to kind of practice. In was it Doctor Strange where they have the mirror dimension? You got to have people you can go in the mirror dimension with because you're practicing really powerful things, but no one's going to get hurt. That's what it reminds me of. So anybody who's seen that. Okay. I love this next card that comes up because when it comes, it kind of piggybacks off that. So you have the people around you that you trust to challenge you. You get the Three of Pentacles. So we go through the challenge, we go through the fire, we go through the constructive criticism, and we're kind of dealing with all that. The Three of Pentacles begins to show us the ways we can work together. Okay? Now, 3 is a magic number, right? You know that song, 3 is a magic number. Everybody go listen to that. It's going to be in your head now with my singing here. But here we have first of all, we have 3 different ages here. We have an older wizard, an adult, and maybe a Padawan, as in the Star Wars parlance, a younger learner, a novice. And they're all coming together, and maybe the novice is, still having to research. They don't know the ingredients that go in to this magic mix of whatever they're creating. It honestly looks like they're at the Tree of Life and working their magic at the Tree of Life here. You have the experienced adult wizard who maybe is a teacher as well. And then you have the wisdom of the elder wizard overseeing everything. He's already been through the trials of the novice and the adult accomplished wizard here, right? And so some really interesting dynamics can begin to take place. And I think this is about, when it comes to confidence and self-esteem, this is about us being comfortable at these different stages. When you're just putting yourself out there, please don't expect yourself to be this seasoned elder wizard. Be willing to be the novice. Be willing to be the beginner. Be okay with it. Allow yourself the grace to make a mistake, because that's what's going to get you to that elder position eventually, is the mistakes and the redirections and the resets that you do. That's going to carry you through these phases. So all these phases are important. And the Pentacles is actually how you apply it in the real world. That's earth energy for those of you earth signs. This is you working that magic, practically speaking. So really getting into the world. And how can you move that dial? There's going to be times where you're moving it as a beginner. There's going to be times where you're confident. You confidently move the dial. But what are the actions you can take that are going to help you flow through this process, right? Okay, Three of Pentacles. All right, and then the major arcana energy that happened to pop out is the Magician. And that's using the magic the magic that's inherent only to you. Okay. So when I talk about magic, I'm not talking about just casting spells and like, stirring things in a cauldron or something like that, like herbs and stuff. I'm talking about your soul spark and the kind of magic that you bring to the world. Maybe it's through massage therapy, maybe it's through hypnotherapy, maybe it's through writing, maybe it's through your relationship with your kids. There's a lot of purpose and a lot of magic that happens, right? As a steward for another. And so the magician is coming in and saying, this is inherent to you. But the world, what the world does, and this is really interesting here because this magician card is good for this. So there are all four elements represented in the card of the magician. You have the wand, the sword, the cup, and the pentacle, representing all of the elements. But the magician is holding on to the wand of the ether. Now, I'll just remind everybody, the magician is the number one card. It comes directly after the fool. Is the magician ready to hold the wand of the ether, to have all the mysteries unlocked? No, he hasn't even been through the veil of the high priestess yet. She's next. So this is where we hit the playing ground here. And we come in this beautiful bright soul with all this confidence and esteem, like we would never even question our own confidence, purpose, esteem, vision, mission. It's all clear. It's the tabula rasa, right? The clean slate. And then what happens? Society, pressures, the traumas of our parents, right? The generational trauma. Ooh, child, generational trauma will get you, you know? And then the density of the reality that we're born into. All we want to do is like, whoa, when we have those moments, and even in our little childhood lives, we're like, what is this? This isn't, it's not supposed to be like this. I remember sitting in my backyard and I always had this claircognizance, this knowing, that here I was, and I was doing pretty good. Luckily I had a pretty damn good childhood compared to a lot of people. And I was sitting in my backyard, just sitting on the ground looking at the grass. And I remember thinking, ooh, things aren't right here. What's going on? Like, I know I came in with this like clean, pure, innocent thing. And I just had this moment of realization of, I was just feeling, and I must have been 8, maybe 7, 8, somewhere in there. Kind of like, I think it's like 0 to 7 is kind of one phase. It was that transition there where I started to realize something outside of myself. And I was like, whoa, is this what I'm going to be dealing with? Right. And my little brain was trying to take in all the sensory things that I was getting, what I was seeing my parents doing, the kind of jobs they were working, like what was going on with my friends and my friends' family and school and what kids were saying. And woo, it was just like everything was swirling like it is in this card here. So the lesson here is to release our grasp when we're trying to gain our confidence and esteem. Release the grasp on the wand of the ether. That will come. That will come in the elder experience here, right? In the experience and the knowledge that you'll gain will bring that wisdom. Let go of the wand of the ether and start working with these elements that we're here to master: fire, air, water, earth. Begin working with that. That's why nature is so helpful, because you find these elements in nature. And I'm called to say another element, wood. Some of you work with the wood element maybe, or that's important as well. I know I'm like seeing my Palo Santo that's sitting out, my little piece of Palo Santo that's sitting in my bathroom that I can't get to right now. If I had it with me, I'd probably light it up, right? So maybe you have some Palo Santo, a little bit of wood that you can do. All right, if you join and you're enjoying this, just a little reminder, make sure you hit that like button. Keep dropping comments. Nicole says, a true master never stops learning. The perpetual student, absolutely. Because you can imagine he is learning with this new cycle of novices here. And so he's learning something new as well. And anyone who has clientele as a part of the services they offer, constantly learning from your clients as well. You're constantly gauging how you're being received, right? And making tweaks based on that. Okay, we're going to use this really cool deck. It's called the Hyde Tarot. This one isn't as well known. It's by a gentleman named Dan Francis, but it's really cool. Black and white. I love using black and white cards, y'all. I don't know what it is, but sometimes they just call to me. So we're going to pull a couple of cards from the Hyde Tarot. It's tarot, but with a really cool twist. So let's see. What do we need to know here? Oh gosh, all these cards. No, let me clear them. They're a little scattery here. What do we need to know about confidence and self-esteem and how to build and gain and free ourselves? Whew, okay. So we got up first the Temperance card. Anybody, do I have any Sagittarians on? This is your card, Sagittarius, and it's the bell. So this is that beautiful moment inside of each of us that can happen when we have a goal and we see the point with which we want to be. And we have, like, it's ingrained in us, it's embodied in us. But we know it's going to take patience to get there. Now, this is a little handbell, but I'm also seeing like those big, like cathedral bells, and how much, power it takes to pull that cord to get those huge bells to ring, right? It takes patience, it takes technique. And so that's what's coming through with this card is patience and fine-tuning your technique, right? Now, here's the thing. And this is something that's probably going to slip into the next reading about motivation and procrastination. But when you're fine-tuning your technique, some of you are in roles that are you're already working with people. You can't wait until your technique is perfect. All right? You can, but you'll never get anywhere with it. Right? And so when it comes to confidence and esteem, you have to be confident that you're aligned with your purpose, but you also have to be confident that you're going to make mistakes and that you're going to forgive yourself and that you're going to pivot and you're going to rewire and you're going to reestablish a new path forward. And that's what this energy is reminding of. It's your calling, though. The bell is ringing. So when you hear that calling, it's definitely not something you can ignore. It's something that's in you. It's a part of you. You could even call this your inner bell, your inner muse. For those of you that are creatives, artists, and writers, your muse, right? It takes time to cultivate this relationship within ourselves. So don't judge yourself. Some of you might judge yourself about how perfect it is, or you might always see what's lacking, instead of knowing what's there and that it's a journey and that it takes patience and time. As long as you stay focused on your purpose, your vision, your mission, your goal, you will find the path there. But yes, you're going to make mistakes along the way, but they're going to help you. One of my business mentors, I love what he says. He always says, when you go out and you put yourself out there and you do something, you either get the results you want, yay, or the lesson you need. And we need to say yay about that as well, because lessons help us grow into the best version of ourselves. They help us become more embodied. And so when it comes to confidence, if we want to be more embodied in our confidence and we want to repair and heal and nurture our self-esteem, we have to be willing to be seen with that, even if it's just by one other person, right? Now we also got, this is the Four of Cups. This is the dragon energy. How Dan Francis depicts this as the dragon. Now I'm just going to say, I feel like when it comes to dragons, and this looks like one of those Komodo dragons, right? It's about consciousness. And the Four of Cups is about emotional energies and how we incorporate emotional energies. And in the traditional tarot, the universe, there's a hand coming out of a cloud and offering a chalice, a cup, to the individual, but the individual has their arms crossed and they're like looking down, like, I don't know if I'm going to accept this about myself. So when it comes to your confidence and esteem, remember I said, sometimes there's that fear of your own greatness. I think that is involved in this reading and probably the next one on motivation and procrastination as well. The universe might be speaking to you, but are your ears open to hear what you need to hear? I'm gonna have to get a sip of water because there's something there. When I start doing this, it's the energies of what I'm perceiving and there's release happening. So even by the fact that you're all tuning into this reading, you are having an experience, you are having a release. So some of you, I'm wondering if this confidence and esteem and the relationship to emotions, what I'm getting for some of you is that some of you were put down. Some of you were told you couldn't do something. Some of you were told you weren't good enough. You would never be good enough. So as this coming up, we're going to release it. We're just going to blow it out. If someone came at you at some point with this kind of negativity, maybe they were jealous. Parents do this sometimes too. They discourage you. And it can be very overt or it could be covert, you know. Parents are meant to make mistakes. I'm a parent. I've made plenty of mistakes. But sometimes we don't know. It's our own it's our own wounding that causes us to discourage someone else, right? And to make someone else feel small. It's because we feel small inside, right? So some of you have been made to feel small. And it could have been parents, it could have been somebody at school, right? Think about how precious and delicate the child's mind is, and they're getting information and getting signals that are not of a healthy vibration. And what do they do with that, right? But the dragon comes in and we start to feel like, okay, we're gaining a little bit of fire. I would say the dragon is kind of reminding me of the Aries energy as well. We start pushing through some of these emotional states that we've developed because we were wounded when we were younger. And I'm feeling that for some of you listening. Some of you are probably aware of those things. And we begin to know that we can release that belief or that statement that was made to us was not really ours. We took it on because we had, remember, young, delicate child, innocent mind, an innocent disposition. We took it on, right? And we let it affect us, but no longer. The dragon, look at that eye. That eye is looking right at you, saying, no, are you going to let that? You're going to let that prevent you from taking up the reins of what you need to do, from filling yourself with confidence and that esteem and confidence that can come only from that greater place of who you are. And so the dragon would have us bring a little bit of fire to this and burn away some of these things we were told, right? And that can result in any kind of emotional release you might have. You might cry. You might feel a bit raged out. You may need to yell into a pillow. You may need to go to the axe throwing place and throw some axes. Okay, whatever you need to do is what you need to do. And we're going to let that be okay. All right. Woo. We're going to get a message from the divine masculine and the divine feminine to close off the reading. So I just want to, when it comes to confidence and esteem, what are the masculine energies that we need to be reminded of? What might be going on from the perspective of the right brain, the masculine, the active energies that we need to be aware of? And then what might the feminine energies, the journey to the divine feminine, be? How could we work with the feminine energies to help ourselves here? What do we need to be aware of? Remember, we're always going to get the result we want, the reassurance we want, or the lessons we need. So the masculine energy brings up guidance from the higher self, from the spirit, from trusted family or friends. I'm not making this up, right? From our family and friends, the people that challenge us to the edges, but in that way that we can take it, right? Anyone with wisdom, and we literally have like a monk or a master here and a student guidance, letting yourself be that student, letting yourself learn from your mistakes, letting it be okay to make mistakes, letting it be okay to show up late once in a while. It just happens, not beating yourself up about it. Tuning into these masculine energies of how can this misstep, what I'm perceiving as a misstep, a mistake, or something that I'm down on myself about, how can I let that guide me forward? How can I learn from that? And then the feminine energies bring up something really interesting. At first, I was like, really? This is what this is? But I feel like I know what this is. Soulmate. Okay. So I really feel like now maybe some of you are like, yay, soulmate. I want, right? Um, and it's a pretty romantic card that's showing up here, but soulmates come in all shapes and sizes. And I really feel this is about one, first and foremost, you're going to be your own soulmate. Okay. You are going to connect with your soul in a way that you make that commitment. You make that commitment that you will always stand by your own side no matter what, that you'll always travel, because what happens is you're always going to travel with your own soul. What happens is things throughout our lifetimes, past, current life included, cause fractures in the soul, on the soul level. At least we're perceiving them that way. But the soul is also something that is untouchable. And so the only reason we have fragmented aspects of ourselves out there is because we release them. And so it's about knowing yourself on that level. You may have released them because it served you in a certain protection in a certain way at that time, right? But what happens is these things go with our souls as we go through different incarnations. And so it's that commitment that no matter how I feel fractured, no matter what has happened to me in the past, no matter if if I released parts of my soul that I need to reclaim later, I know that I will always do that. I will always stay committed to my soul. And see, when you do that for yourself, you begin attracting the others, whether it's romantic or friendships or in your family, right? We begin attracting those kinds of energies. And if somebody's not a match for that, of course, they're not going to probably be part of our experience there. So, wow, such interesting energies there. That's it for confidence and esteem. What did you all think? Are you still with me? Are you here? I can see people are here. If there's anything you want to comment, I know that can get a little personal, like Nicole and was saying, yeah, it's easy to, when we're hearing this, feel personally attacked, yet there are multiple people on saying they can relate. You're not alone. You're truly not alone. Just seems like you're not alone, but all the people that you want to hang out with don't live near you sometimes, doesn't it? I have that issue. Yeah, it's a lot to take in. It's a lot. And that's why, we have the replays. You can always come back to it. Maybe just take a little baby step with it. Take a little something, you know. Don't worry about how you're immersing in all of it, because we don't want to knock ourselves out with overwhelm. So just taking that little step. Okay, let's get into trouble with motivation and procrastination. So procrastination, motivation. We're going to head back to the wizards. We're going to see what our group who really relates to having trouble with motivation, or, tends to find themselves procrastinating. Now, let's leave a little bit of room. There are some people who do really well under pressure. They perform better under pressure. And that can be the case, but it can also cause stress. So, It would depend on the circumstance for you, maybe. But let's look at motivation and procrastination. What do we need to know? What do our greater beings need to know? All right, one more from the wizards. Man, we are definitely feeling a certain way about these readings. That's for sure. We have the Four of Cups again. And so I'll get into that. But motivation and procrastination. I would kind of say maybe that's what this dude is doing here. This wizard is like in the study, and he's like the kid in class. Maybe you were the kid in class who was like the teacher's voice, wah, 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 like Charlie Brown, wah, wah, wah. And you just like stared out that, one side of the room that had windows on it in your classroom, and you went somewhere else, right? You went somewhere else into more of like a dreamer kind of thing. But this energy is needed. This energy is beautiful. The Nine of Cups is about the ways you feel fulfilled. So many of us found ourselves in environments at young ages where we couldn't connect with the ways in which we felt fulfilled, right? Maybe it was public school. Maybe it was the dynamic of the family. Maybe it was, for me, I had, a church, growing up in church, certain structures, and my dad was a minister, dynamic speaker, really good speaker. When I hear other ministers, I'm like, damn, my dad was really good at that. He was a Gemini. He could talk. He could take the stage and talk, okay? So it's not like he was a bad speaker. He was fantastic. But for me and my personal spiritual relationship, sometimes those sermons, wah, 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 and I would go somewhere else. And so when you're in environments over and over and over again, repeatedly, right? And credit to, the people that came before us. We know they did their best, okay? We're going to give them a little grace, a little benefit of the doubt. We're going to blend that in here. But we're also going to recognize that that just really wasn't for us. And so it became easy to go into these other energies. All right. It became easy to daydream, to go to the places that felt better for us, that were more intriguing and interesting. Because I know some of y'all were bored to death at school. That's not what you weren't learning what you wanted to learn. And so it's hard, right, to pay attention. And so it's hard to be motivated in this kind of environment. And I think this card speaks to our environment. The star energy comes in. Do I have any Aquarians here? Aquarius energy. I'm an Aquarius rising, so I do have that in my chart. This is another dreamer energy. And so what it really feels like to me as I'm tuning into y'all is that there's this part of you that showed up in this world and started having experiences and was like, where does my gift fit into all this? Because I may not be the one who, maybe I get good grades, but maybe I'm not the one who wants to pursue that kind of a life. Maybe I don't get good grades because I'm just not interested in these things. This is not what lights me up, right? And so it's very interesting. I'm getting a lot of soul reclamation from these first two readings here, reclaiming aspects of yourself and understanding that the structures with which, because Aquarius does not like to be put in a cage, in a box. Aquarius is a very freedom focused energy. And I feel freedom in this card. I feel illumination based on what lights you up, what works for you. And if it works for you and it brings joy to your life and it puts you in a place of grace and gratitude, it's going to be good. It's going to be good on the whole, right? And so some of you are in this position now where it's almost like we have to fight for it. We're fighting for it. Not physically fighting, not bringing violence, because I condone peace. I'm not violent, and I don't like violence, right? This is about a peaceful reclamation, a peaceful fight. This is they call it the peaceful warrior, right? This is like a different kind of war. It's kind of like the spiritual aspects of war, where we're not really fighting anyone else, we're fighting ourselves. So Aquarius energy kind of has, it's kind of given me the feeling of like, do something spontaneous. Do something that seems wild and crazy. If you're struggling with motivation and procrastination, move your body, dance. Free dancing, free flow dancing is really helpful. Just shaking your body. Have you ever just done this where you just shake the stress off? I love doing this. You can do it right now if you want. It looks silly. You look like a dancing chicken. Who cares, right? Shake it off. Let it go. Let it go. And sometimes when I move my hands like this, I feel the energy building all around my hands. And you know, you can do the spirit fingers, you can do whatever the hell you want, right? You're free. So this is about taking some sort of action that feels freeing to you. Maybe it's going on a walk. Maybe feeling free is just like, oh my gosh, I'm going to go live on my Instagram and talk to people about who knows what, but let's just do it. Hell, let's just do it. Let's go. Right. And so there's that energy. There's that energy of like, kind of reminds me too of like building in days where you don't have a plan, where you can just see where the wind takes you. Maybe doing like a little mini road trip if you have access to be able to do that, a hike in nature in a place that maybe you haven't been. It's taking that kind of a step to help with some of these energies. And then we've got the Four of Cups. The Four of Cups. Oh, we're feeling a certain way. Oh gosh, man. And looking at this particular wizard, you know, he's feeling a little bit down, but look what he has access to. Look what the knowledge he has access to. He's got four cups here, but one of them is kind of hidden over to the side here. The other three, 1, 2, 3, are more illuminated. And so I think some of you might be dealing with just not being able to see what lever to pull when you're feeling like, I can't get going with this. This would be like, for those of you that have ever written writer's block, it's kind of a writer's block kind of feeling. It may be paralysis by analysis for some of you that tend to get in the overthinking mind. And when you get in an overthinking kind of mind, it's really pulled you out of your heart space. And so you have trouble seeing that fourth cup to add stability, right? That fourth cup will add stability. 4 is a number of stability, and it brings structure, right? So we're dealing with these like contrasting energies. We're feeling certain ways, which is how it's hard. We want freedom, but we have trouble accessing that fourth cup. We're feeling a certain way, whether it be writer's block and the judgments there, or like overcoming something, you know. I don't really like doing tech stuff behind the scenes. That's hard for me. Some people are great at it and they struggle with coming on live and talking to people. I'm the opposite. I have trouble with the back end stuff. And so sometimes there's just like that alignment of, I've got to get in the vibe where I can feel productive in that energy and still have a bit of freedom, right? Now, one of the things I want to mention, yet another mentor of mine always talks about, she's like, take yourself on a date. And this is where the feminine energy, this feminine flow comes in so nice. This can be simple. You don't have to make a huge deal out of this. This could be taking yourself on a little coffee date, go to the tea shop, take yourself on a little date. Bye, Anna. Take care. I hope you have a good weekend. This could be just treating yourself to a nice dinner. This could be taking yourself into nature, but taking yourself on a date puts you in the energy of being able to see that cup over here that's not illuminated, because you're in a place of self-care and self-awareness and giving yourself maybe a little treat here. Okay. Motivation, procrastination. I pulled a couple cards from the Hide Tarot while I was talking. We've got the Fish, the Three of Cups. Now, this feels like a breath of fresh air. This would feel to me, it's kind of giving me that feel of like the Three of Pentacles, except this is the people that are around you that you feel like fill your emotional cup. All right. And that would be people who acknowledge your emotions. Some of you don't have enough of this in your life, enough people like this. Yeah, because maybe you're dealing with draining people. Some of you are dealing with like the energetic vampire stuff. Maybe you have to deal with them at like work. Blaze. Blaze is picking up on this. He might bark a little bit. Hey, calm down. It's okay. We're okay in here. We're okay. Some of you need more of your surrounding to be that which fills your cup. And so you might have to be making some changes here. Again, 3 is the magic number, right? You can learn a lot by working with the number 3. Be watching for repeating 3s too. I'm sensing to tell some of you that. Come back and comment if you see those repeating 3s today or when you see this. And I love the fish. The fish is a flow, right? Fish represent a flow. And these are like friendships, relationships that just flow. And it's like, wow, I leave the presence of these people, my interactions with them, and I feel rejuvenated. I feel good because why? Because they didn't steal from my cup. My energy, my emotional energy is not stolen, it's supported. This also speaks to me of authenticity. So when it comes to motivation and procrastination, if you struggle with it, maybe it's your job to talk about it with people. Maybe it's your job to show up and say, hey, oh man, I feel like I'm in a rut. I don't feel motivated. I keep putting this off. I know it's connected to things, but you start talking about it and helping yourself, right? Without fear that you're going to drain someone else. You're being authentic, right? So it would be with the people. And some of you are working on finding these relationships. You don't have enough of that kind of energy in your life. You have too much of the vampire taking kind of energy. And unfortunately, a lot of people are operating in that realm. And then we got the Mouse, the 7 of Pentacles. So this is that fear I was talking about of being seen, right? Mice don't like, I don't think, anyone to see them, not cats. They definitely don't want cats seeing them, right? But the 7 of Pentacles is also what you're nurturing. So if what you're nurturing is feeling small, feeling insignificant, right, to you, maybe it just needs more fertilizer. Maybe it just needs more water. Maybe it just needs to go back and listen to the Confidence and Esteem reading, right? So this has a lot to do with, I'm loving how there's a star on the ground in front of the mouse, and then its eye is illuminated like a star. This is some sort of connection between you understanding your own greatness, and even though you may feel like a small fish in a big pond, right? And you may fear the sharks and all the things, the cats, right? You're going to nurture this in yourself anyway. Again, we're working with earthly energies here, so we have to do this in a very practical way. 7s bring change and momentum, right? It's a number of movement, and what comes next? The 8, which is prosperity and abundance. All right, so we may feel small and insignificant, but the star in the mouse's eye and the star on the ground, that's a recognition of your own greatness. And that can be scary at first, of like, oh my goodness, I'm going to put my soul out there. I'm going to bare my soul, my life, And so that can be overwhelming. I'm going to bare my art to the world. I'm going to show everybody. It's going to be up for praise, but it's going to be up for critique. And I'm feeling a certain way about that. And not only that, but What if I'm wildly successful? You know, what if? And that can be scary. All that attention. So that can affect us when we're trying to do something that's important and we're finding we're procrastinating it. Either one, we work better under pressure and we're going to light it up in the 11th hour, or we need to accept that what we have going might just be the next big thing. And even if it's not big for everybody, it's big for us. And if it's big for us, it's worthwhile. It's going to help our soul, our growth in some way. Let's get a card from the masculine energies here and one from the feminine to close off the reading. So how can the masculine aspects assist us here? And then how can the feminine aspects assist us? Oh yeah, this one's like me. Oh my gosh, y'all keep bringing romance into it. Y'all voted for personal growth, soul growth. I think I got one vote for love and relationships, but here we go. Okay, anyway, we'll take a different take on it, but some of these cards, I swear. The masculine is speaking of independent, an independent kind of feeling. And I think the mouse can make you feel like I'm alone in this, you know? Other people are doing stuff. I sit here and I procrastinate. I don't have the motivation. This is an independent experience for you, though. And there's no right or wrong. That's where we get really caught up into like, oh, I'm not doing it right. But you have to do it in your own independent way, right? And so independence is playing. Some of you need to release yourselves of the energetic vampires and be independent of them, bringing in more fish that swim with you harmoniously in the sea that can be part of your pod, part of your dolphin pod. And that will support your own independence. Some of you may be in codependent situations where you may be challenged with this. So if you're struggling with motivation and procrastination, your external environment is trying to inform you about what's going on inside. Reconciliation is the feminine energy that comes up here. And that's why I say, here we go with another romance card from the feminine, by the way. You're going to have to reconcile these aspects of yourself, right? And I think we can speak to this on a very personal level and an independent level within each of us, where we are working with the yin and the yang within. We're working with, we do need the times of relaxation, which we're going to get into next. We do need the times to rest. We do need to give ourselves permission for that and not beat ourselves up about if we're having a day where we don't feel motivated, right? We need that, the feminine energies, and we need those to work with the masculine energies of today's the day I need to get at least this one thing done. And that's my commitment to myself, is I'm going to take action toward that today, if nothing else. And, you know, you don't have to make that action the biggest step, remember? Because even in the previous reading, we talked about letting yourself be a beginner. You can take a baby step, but you're going to commit to getting that one baby step done. So you're working with these energies within. This is your positive and negative energies, your right and left brain, right? I think we're working on reconciling those within ourselves, because we go through lots of experiences in life that disrupt these neural pathways and they don't talk to one another. And I was just talking to some of my family members yesterday. One of the things I learned, because you guys know I'm trying to heal my eyesight naturally. I'm wearing these now because I want to be able to see the cards clearly and present them well. But a lot of times I'm taking my glasses off and the world's a little blurry. I have a little bit blurred vision, right? Couple issues. But one of the things I learned from the method that I'm learning about to naturally heal myself is that juggling is helpful. You can use different colored balls. So some people, you know, have vision issues that affect color blindness and stuff like that, right? There's all kinds of issues. But also the juggling and the coordination that it takes to juggle, it actually repairs the brain. It gets both hemispheres of the brain talking to one another. Some of you may even practice like, okay, I'm right-handed, but today I'm going to try to do things with my left hand. Have you ever just tried to hold your cell phone even with the opposite hand and use the other hand to type or to do things? Challenging yourself so that you can rewire, you can reconcile the right and left brain. That's coming up here for a reason. So just giving you guys a few ideas. Yeah. Because some of you need to have a little bit of release and a little bit of a reunion of these different aspects of yourself, right? To gain momentum toward feeling motivated. But remember, we give ourselves permission to relax too. We're in a dance with life. We're in a yin yang kind of vibe. All right, drink of water, quick switch. We're going to pivot. Do those of you who are having trouble with relaxing, okay, so it's very hard for you to wind down. You could have trouble sleeping. You could have trouble. You could feel like you're on edge, anxious all the time, on guard. Okay, you might feel like the fight or flight energies are up for you. All right, so we're going to use the Wizard's Tarot again. Give me an emoji, give me a comment. Ashley says, looks like I'm taking up juggling again. Yeah. So I have these juggling balls. I haven't tried them yet, but you know what else I used to do that I don't do a lot anymore? You guys remember those crystal sticks, or they called them devil sticks? It's like two little sticks and then a long stick with the little things on the end, fringe or whatever, and you go like this. Yeah, and you can do stuff, and some people are really, really good at it. But any kind of thing like that where you're mixing and matching the right and left, you know. I'm thinking about the shell game too, like you're moving things around in the shell game and keeping track of stuff. Yeah, that would be good stuff. So if you've come to the relaxing video and you're like, what's she talking about juggling? Look at the previous look at the previous timestamp. But we're getting into the energies of what do we need to know about when we, or if we are a person who has trouble relaxing. We really have trouble winding down. We really have trouble turning off the mind, perhaps. All right. Ooh. Looks like we're getting some help here. So very interestingly, every time I do these readings, they seem to sequence one into the next. The last reading we had the star, and we have the star again when it comes to relaxation, Aquarian energy. Okay. Now there's some other signs that can do this too. I think Libra is pretty good at this. You know, I'm thinking Libra Aquarius energy. So if you have that in your chart, utilize it. And relaxation helps bring you into balance. It's that long exhale, it's that sigh of relief, you know, where you can just come into a more peaceful place, right? And I love this energy coming up once again. Embrace that Aquarian Libra energy. It's freedom to rest in a very, very busy world where there's a lot of pressure and a lot of dominant energies. You know, you could call it masculine, but some of these feminine energies too are just bulldozing through. When we're in up against those kinds of energies, and we're a sensitive person, we can start to feel that. So we have to get ourselves into a place of relaxation. I know I got the red lights today for Aries. I'm feeling like red light therapy. This has been coming up quite a bit, or like a sauna or a red light therapy for some of you might be really helpful to help you relax. Breathing seems important. You know, Aquarius is an air sign, Libra is an air sign. Think about the breath work that you could do to help yourself relax, because we shorten our breaths. We're quickly breathing, and that's, you know, that's affecting our body. Think about getting more oxygen, taking an intentional breath. That can be extremely helpful here. So I'm getting a real powerful message from the air element here for those of you who are having trouble relaxing, to mindfully come into your breath. And I mean, I have been studying and doing breath work for a long time, and there are days where I'm just like, oh my gosh, my breathing is so shallow. I need to take a deep breath. I need to remember. So let's do it right now. Let's actually do it. So if you're with me or you're watching on the replay, let's just take a moment. Let's take a deep breath. And of course, you can count and you can do the time, you can do the Venhoff method, you can do whatever you want. But coming into your breath and working with that breath work to oxygenate your body. Um, One of the, and I don't have any sponsorships or anything like that, but I am on my second month of using what's called cell food, and it's like little drops you put in your water, and it helps bring oxygen to the cells and reduce free radicals and all of that kind of stuff, the toxic load. And it takes a while to, work with your system. But I'm also getting like zeolites. If you guys have ever heard of zeolites, Zeolites, I think, zeolites. So I am not a doctor. I can't, prescribe anything, and I'm not doing any sponsorships, but those things are just coming up intuitively. So for some of you, that may be an indicator. But look what else we got here to help us relax, the King of Cups. Now, the King of Cups is in an emotional energy where he just knows like everything's going to be okay. It doesn't matter how stormy the seas get, everything is going to be okay. Is everything always okay? No. Have things been okay in the past? No. But I know the universe is working in my favor and everything is going to be okay. And I'm going to have that feeling. When I get myself in a place of relaxation, I find that reminder that everything is going to work out for me. Okay. Everything. That's why one of those affirmations, I don't know if it was Louise Hay or whoever, everything is working out for me. Everything is working out for my highest and best good. This is an affirmation that you can say, but you want to say it with feeling. The King of Cups is like, I want you to feel it. I don't just want you to say it and think it. I want you to feel it. So things are working out for me. Closing your eyes. Things are working out for me. Everything is working out for my highest and best good. Even when I can't see the outcome, I know that I'm moving in the direction that will carry me along my aligned path, right? And there's a trusting energy here in the heart. And that's the key. We're dropping out of the mind. Relaxation, we have to be able to feel it in our bodies. Relaxation of the body will relax the mind, right? But the mind has trouble. The mind can't always relax the body. That there has to be a harmony there. The mind is busy, right? Taking in all kinds of sensory information. When we come into our breath, when we trigger that parasympathetic nervous system instead, right? And we begin to really be more present with ourselves, present with our heart energy, and then we can, this is a different modality, it's a different conversation when we're operating from the heart. And so those of you having trouble relaxing, a lot of you are having trouble sinking into that heart energy. All right. And I know it's tough, but you have to want to. Number one, you have to want to. So some of you might have those Virgo energies, Gemini energies, fast moving, think, beyond, like you might have a job that requires you to think on your feet, really fast kind of energies. Even more so, you'll have to practice getting into your heart. And the breath can certainly help with that. And then we have, this is a very auspicious card for us to get with this reading. Queen of Pentacles. She's one of the most relaxed energies. Like this one right here and the Empress, they're relaxed. They don't chase, they attract. This is about being in that relaxed energy that attracts. It's not the rat race. It's not the hamster wheel. It's, I'm going to sit with myself. I'm going to sit with what I've built. I'm going to sit with my gratitude. I'm going to sit with the grace that I'm extending myself in my garden. And I'm going to be, I get to be, and I get to attract whomever is meant to come into my new reality. The way that I am evolving will come. And I'm going to give myself a chance to just sit, and I can ponder, I can relax, I can daydream. I can just be in these energies without putting extra pressure on myself. And I'm hearing the birds chirping as I'm saying this, nature, sitting in nature, being still and listening to the sounds, smelling the smells, feeling the wind, since air is an important part of this reading. That's going to be most helpful to those of you who are struggling with relaxing, you know? So, are we going to go on some wild white rapid ride if we want to relax? Is this, no, probably not. We're probably going to go on a gentle walk in the park. We're going to sit on the park bench. We're just going to be with nature. Let nature talk to you. Have any of you ever been out in nature and you still yourself enough to where you can actually see the vibration coming from like the trees and the plants? There's like a vibe. It has its own breath. And I want to encourage you to be still long enough to hear that and to experience that. I love that. Okay, we're going to go to the Hide Tarot for a couple cards for those of you who struggle to relax. Oh, this is so interesting. This is so interesting. Okay. Yay, we've got more astrological influences coming in here. So if you're Taurus, Cancer, or Virgo, here we go. We've got, so interestingly, in Dan Francis' deck, he represents the moon as the bull. The moon is the ruler of Cancerian energy, but here we have the bull. But these two go nice together. How do I know? Because I'm a Cancer sun and a Taurus moon. Okay. This is comfort. This is maybe spending a little time coming back into yourself. For Cancerians, we kind of have our little shell. We go in our little shell, and your sign will have its own way of that, like coming back internally. And this is us exploring what is not typically seen. All right. The moon is about what we cannot typically see. If we think about like this moon, this solar eclipse is happening during a new moon. And some of us need to be still in this energy. Now, the bull comes in Taurus energy. Taurus likes to be comfortable. So you want to make sure when you're going into a place of relaxation, it'd be like if you go to a spa and everything's like really busy and the front desk lady is stressed out and she says something snarky and you're just like, oh, like that doesn't make you want to relax. You want to have the experience where they're like, hello, Mrs., Mr., Miss. Here is your nice warm towel and here's your robe. And, you want to be pampered. Taurus likes to be comfortable. Taurus likes to be pampered. And I think for relaxation, some of you really need that experience. So if you have the funds, you maybe need to book that massage. Maybe you need to book that, facial treatment or whatever it is that's going to help, the sauna therapy, whatever's going to help you relax and feel comfortable relaxing, because there's this, in this ability to relax, there's this energy. I feel like the brain, I'm just going to try to describe the energy. It's like the brain takes it up and it's like, and then you have your coffee, which I have mine here. And then the caffeine pulls everything to the frontal lobe. It like lights you up, right? Any of you drinking those Monster drinks or anything out there? You know how much caffeine is in some of this stuff? Some of you may need to take it down a notch. I can only handle so much caffeine a day. And there's definitely a time that I reach during the day that I should not drink caffeine after that, or I will be up. But it pulls the energy into the mental space. It activates that. It can be good when you're trying to achieve something that's very mental, but on a day where you're trying to relax, or a time, maybe instead of the coffee, you trade out that for some, just some green tea. It still has a little bit of caffeine, but it's going to be a lot more gentle. It's going to be a lot more gentle. Green works with the heart space, right? And so instead of the energy going like this, you start to call your energy back in and spread it out through the edges of your body. All right. Somatic work helps with this a lot. So if you're into somatics, Sometimes, especially if you're having a mental and emotional experience and you want to relax out of that, it's tied to your emotions, the tapping. In the short term, it will bring you out of that, or what I suggested earlier in this video about the having the three things, closing the eyes, and bringing yourself back. But the Taurus energy would have you really embody this, really like ground it into yourself. It's bringing the energy from up and out here to, we're going to ground it down in. All right. And then, but the Cancer energy says, yes, we're going to go deeper within, because something wants, we don't only want to like, we want all the hormones and the neurotransmitters when we're going into a state of relaxation. We want all those to amplify to the best of their operating ability, right? And how they're talking together. And I feel like that Cancer self-care comes in with the moon here, and that energy is speaking to that, right? And there's something important about you filling yourself to the edges with relaxation. Has anybody ever had like restless leg syndrome? Oh my gosh, that is the worst. Any kind of uncontrollable movement in your body, involuntary stuff, it's can stress you out. To know, have some, we got to have some like understanding for people who have that, or have a neurological disorder or something, right? Imagine what it feels like to have your body doing involuntary movements all the time. Now, sometimes, I feel like anything can be healed, but some things are more severe than others. So some of you, if you've ever had like the restless leg syndrome, and you just feel like, I mean, I think when I went through my pregnancies during different phases, I kind of had that, and you're just so tired, and you just want to sleep, and it's something keeps you up like that. It can be really, really tough. So it's even more important for you to daily practice relaxation. And I'm also getting that for some of you, it may have to do with gentle movements, like a Tai Chi or a Qigong kind of movements. Those are more measured. It does give your brain a little bit something to focus on because you're moving. So if you're having a lot of trouble getting out of these energies with the brain, you can begin to move, but you're going to do slow movement, very measured, very slow, and then until you slow yourself down. Yoga can do it too, restorative yoga. Let's get to these Virgo energies. So Virgo shows up here with the snail, and it's the Hermit, and this is that introspective place. The Hermit brings us inside ourselves. This is the aspect of Virgo that integrates what they've analyzed. Because remember, analysis by paralysis, that big brain energy, right? We're working on moving into the heart space, and this is the time where, okay, there's lots of information, but now I need the integration, and I'm going to slow myself down and take time with that, because it's bringing me some sort of wisdom. I'm gaining something from it to help me. And then I slow myself down. Even slowing yourself down when you're talking. You know how if you're going into a meditation and the person's talking like this, they're like, woo, party time. It's not going to relax you. I party time at a lot of the lives, but in this reading here, everything wants to slow down. It wants to be more full in the body. It wants to be more present. These are how the energies are showing. So there's a lot of wisdom. So working with your charts and your energy, where you have Virgo is 6th house, right? Cancer's 4th house, Taurus is 2nd house energy. And you guys can look this up, just make a little note. You can look it up later. Don't get all in your mind. Oh, I got to research it right now. No, you can look it up when the time is right, right? Becoming familiar with those parts of yourself, what planets you might have in those energies, might tell you how easy or how difficult it is for you to relax. Okay, so there's a lot that can be uncovered there. Oh my goodness. I feel like at the end of each reading, we're doing some sort of release. This is really good. I am reaching for, instead of the masculine and feminine, I'm reaching for this wild mystic oracle. So we're going to pull one for here. And then I think we're going to pull one from the shaman's oracle as well. We're just going to trust. We're going to relax. We don't have to follow the same rigid structure for everything, right? Ooh, this is interesting. For those of you working on relaxation, this is very interesting. Oh, this is so cool. Okay, so you're working on relaxation. You're slowing down. You're becoming a time bender. Okay? And I'm going to get something because I'm going to show you guys this real quick. Okay, I'm back. I got to show you my spoon because I learned that I could be a spoon bender. You know, like in the Matrix, it's not the spoon that bends, it is only yourself, right? When I went to a business conference in December, Business by Design, it was amazing. And Jenny, who is a fiance of the gentleman who runs it, she took us through these meditations. And one of the meditations, we all got a spoon like this, and she worked us through different angles of the process. I think we went through coming face to face with our power, our courage, you know, our wisdom and things like that. And there was something about this particular meditation where, you know, I bent this spoon. I didn't strong arm and I wasn't like, yeah, I'm gonna bend this spoon, you know, like I brought some of these home for my son, you know, he's a Leo. He's like, I'm bending it. He ended up breaking his, you know, but he put physical force on it. Mine was like, this bending happened from me being in a relaxed presence with myself, a deep, relaxed presence with myself. This bending happened from me feeling the molecules in the spoon and melding with them. Okay. And so this was I did this very gently. And there's people that had curly cues. There's people that didn't bend their spoons, and that's okay. But when we go into these relaxed spaces, it's amazing what we can accomplish. And that's my point. So this has become my Wonder Woman. So if you're a spoon bender, you can also be a time bender, and you can also shift your molecules in your own body as well. Okay. So I just had to explain that because you're bending time when you go into states of relaxation, right? It can be hard to get there because the mind tells us we don't have time to sit down for an hour or to go for that gentle walk in the park, when really we're actually opening up more time. We're bending time, we're bending space, we're bending ourselves when we relax. And so there are some gifts that are coming up here that I want to notify you guys about because this is exciting. So when you're getting yourself into that place of relaxation, you are improving your natural instincts. This is you being able to perceive more on a sensory level, a multi-sensorial level, right? So we know the concept in our minds that we're multi-dimensional creator beings. That's our essence. That's what we're up against. That's what we're taking the peaceful warrior's journey for, right? We're reclaiming that aspect of us that is powerful, instinctual, right? This is built into our DNA. But we can have instincts on multiple different levels. So we're constantly being informed by the energy. The more you're in a state of relaxation, the more your instincts will come online. And they are going to help inform you in an embodied way of what's going on around you. So some of you may find yourself getting a little bit more sensitive to things as you go into getting better and better at relaxing the mind. Okay. But it brings you into this physical, instinctual. So it's multidimensional, but you're experiencing it on the physical. And that's what we're here to do on earth. We're here to experience these things in the physical. And I love this. This is a wolf. So my wolf packs out there. Woo, woo. Let's hear it for the wolf packs, right? This is having those instincts. It's kind of knowing where you are in relationship to all that is, right? It's that feeling where you're connected with the cosmos, and you know that the cosmos itself is expressing through you. It's the place that, like, every cell is like a galaxy in the universe that you are, right? Does that, I know it doesn't maybe make logical sense, but can you be present with that energy, right? That is our greater being. That's where we're in contact. I'm always talking about the greater being. Some people call it the higher self, but your greater being can inform you. And you're being told the better you get at relaxing and the more you're able to integrate and embody your relaxation, the more instinctual you become. It brings the instincts back online. And then this is really the craziest, somewhat maybe low-key creepy card. 24, the galactic mushroom, the divine matrix. Ooh, what's coming out of that? It's like, I don't know, it's like a face. And it's got like this little, like, it, you know, this kind of reminds me of the Cheshire cat. You know how the Cheshire cat is like, you want to like look at it, you want to know what's that cat all about, but at the same time, it's a little bit creepy. You know what I mean? So, this, you know, when we start to get embodied and our instincts come online and we're feeling into those multidimensional aspects of ourselves, and we're having an interaction there because there's some sort of spores or something, you know, there's spores coming off like mushrooms, right? Always let mushroom spores go. Don't put them in plastic bags. When you go collect morels, everybody knows, use those little nets with holes so that, you know, as you're walking along, right, that your beautiful morels will be there next season. Don't put them in plastic bags, y'all. And don't put yourself in a plastic bag. Don't suffocate yourself with busyness and logic and anxiety, right? This is relaxing into what is born, how you are born into nature and how you are connected in that way. The divine matrix, right? Maybe not the heavy soup that we experience here. There's also a bit of wildness that comes up here. So the relaxation, taking you into a place of wildness. And there's oh gosh, I really have to write this down. There's a Japanese artist that would paint these beautiful depictions of wild animals. And so they were asking him, like, well, how do you do this? Like, and he's like, well, I become the animal. And I think in this relaxation energy here, some of you are embodying. So if there's an animal that pops into your mind as I'm talking, or maybe it's the wolf for you, maybe it's one of the animals that have come up, but maybe it's something totally different. Maybe it's a tiger. Let that inform you, right? Let that inform you. What animal could I embody as I'm super present with myself and relaxed, you know? And I'm not saying you're going to become an animal. I'm saying you're embodying the energies, like tiger is connected to power, lion, courage, right? You're going to let the animal spirit guide inform you a bit. So that may have come up for some of you, but it brings you into this really cool space of feeling connected, and also feeling like in places of relaxation, I think there are places where we can constantly feel like our new selves. We feel renewed. We feel like we have a fresh start after we relax, right? So we're being born into a new version of ourselves when we gift ourselves the experience of relaxation. Oh my gosh, some of you are troopers who have been with me, or some of you have been, you know, had to go and come back around. Hello, hello. If you haven't given this video a like, we are transitioning to our last reading, but please like, share, bring a friend. Please bring a friend to the channel, because I know people that enjoy my channel have friends who are like-minded and like-hearted, family members, friends. Bring them on board. We want to build this community in that kind of a way. So if you know someone, and I know some of you have, and thank you, because I've got sisters, I've got moms and daughters, I've got bros, and it's great. Okay. So I should have probably saved relaxation till the last because now I feel so relaxed. Okay. All right. But this is renewing me into this last reading. So this last breakout reading is for people, has to do with resources, who have trouble spending or saving. Okay. So, or maybe it's the cycle of spending and earning, right? So who is that? Probably most of us. So if you come on now, we're gonna get into the abundance channels. We're gonna be able to get into what it's like to manifest, to draw money and resources to us, right? And so here we are. We're in this world, and let's be honest, we live in this pressurized environment, and we're doing a lot of great spiritual and soul level work here. And the world runs on what? Money, fake fiat currency, created digital currency, right? I mean, it's real, but it's not, right? I mean, you don't hear people talking about, well, how many bars of gold do you have, right? I mean, some people might talk about that. And gold and silver, physical, is a resource, right? And that's been denoted as what we would trade with. And then, you hear about a lot of the trades and the farmers markets of the past. They would trade. I need these herbs and spices, and you need this meat for your family, right? So this is all of us spending and saving. And how many cycles and different setups have we dealt with this? Some healthier means of exchange and some not so healthy. It's no wonder most of us struggle with this, okay, in some way, shape, or form, or we struggle with it with different phases in our lives because we're trying to navigate a very imbalanced matrix experience with this, right? And not the healthiest mode of exchange right now, right? Seems like everything's funneling to a small percent while everyone else breadcrumbs, right? All right. So before I get into too philosophical of a conversation, let's look at what the cards have to say about. So this is about your personal experience. Let's personalize this a little bit more. What's going on inside of us as we're struggling with these energies? So we know we have maybe a platform or an exchange system. It's not the healthiest. There's greed, there's all that, right? So some of us have the fear of becoming that. We push it away because we're afraid. Oh, we see the greed and we see the consumption, right? Especially consumeristic. America is very consumeristic. Australia, we have a lot of consumption going on. This is so interesting. We got the Emperor. And I do want to bring this up because I think it's coming up for people. So the Emperor is Aries energy, everybody. The Aries is that go get 'em momentum energy here. Okay. It is that red, push forward, fire, let's go get it kind of energy. But Aries can also, they can tend to roll over others or roll past others in sometimes an insensitive way. No offense to my Aries out there. Y'all are beautiful people. You pave the way, you inspire, you teach, but sometimes your energy rolls right over and rolls right on through, right? And that's the kind of energy that we're dealing with spending and saving, which is so interesting. So it has a tendency here to really play on the ego as well, where there's a lot of judgment. I feel a lot of judgment coming into this reading, like judging yourself for not having enough, judging yourself for having too much, judging yourself for coming into an inheritance, judging yourself for having to take government assistance, right? Listen, we're going to take a moment here, and we're being asked to move into some different energies with this reading here. This is going a different direction than I thought it would, at least so far. but we're being asked to settle more into being kind to ourselves about whatever kind of financial, monetary resource experience we're having, right? Some of you would like to do things, but you don't have you don't feel like you have the resources for it. But, I'll tell you one thing, just the cell phone itself is a big resource and you can do a lot with it. So most people do have that. Not everybody I realize has one, but most people these days do. And so this is about where can we pull up the resources that we have and bring them into a stable place where we can move forward, right? This Aries energy would be going and getting the resources and then having it sit with them. The emperor is sitting in his throne, right? But he's kind of in like a little bit of an exhausted position in his seat. Like he's had a hard day. He's been out there working. He's been out there hustling. This is a hustle energy as well. And of course, we want to, when it comes to savings and spending and attracting money, we also want to be in alignment. So yes, we can all go hustle. We can do all the side hustles. We can, like there's that there's that funny meme video where the lady's talking and she's like, don't get out hustled by a crackhead because they'll get up at dawn and go get their they'll hustle so they can get their drugs, right? Don't get out hustled by a crackhead. So there's that motivation, right? Coming back in again, which was one of the previous readings. But this is about, yeah, there's going to be that hustle. But as you're going to see in a moment, we also have to move into alignment. Now, the tricky thing about getting into alignment is all the judgment, all the imposter syndrome, all of the comparison energies. Oh, yeah, we got the devil, right? It's the Capricorn energy, hard work. It's that hard work. You got to earn it, right? And there's something I value a good hard day's work. I think about doing lawn work or cleaning the garden and stuff like that. Good work, like having a job. Like I was, oh boy, it's coming up, y'all. It's coming up. We're all like, ooh, we're triggered. We're triggered by this. You can value hard work and effort, but let's be honest about what's going on in the world. Not everybody that has resources and finances and all these things at the tip of their fingers has done the hard work to get it. Some of them have. So we can't blanket statement. It's very easy to blanket statement because of the media and what's shown on TV. So I'm not putting anybody down here. Okay. Hard work is important. And it's kind of like the boomer generation. My parents, love them, love all you guys, all you boomers out there. And before, there was a lot of hard work and that this was the way to do it. But have we thought about hard work with the complementary energy of alignment, of being aligned with purpose, of being aligned with healthy exchange between one another? We don't know how to do that yet. Maybe we're in this time where we're trying to figure out the best of it, right? But it's so easy. And I'm going to say it again. I watch Navajo traditional teachings. I love Wally. Okay, like they're doing such good things on YouTube, Navajo traditional teachings. I talk about them often, but he has such good things to say. It's just like, and he tells it in a story as he was told by his grandfather, as his grandfather was told by his grandfather, and on and on and on and on. The word that is passed down through stories that has been lost, and that's coming up here for some reason, right? So, but he talks about like in the culture, in his culture, the indigenous culture, even as a child, each child gets a little job and they learn how to do some kind of work. Maybe they bring the firewood in, to the teepee or whatever it was, right? But there's value in us achieving things through work. Yes, there is. But it's also been very twisted and inverted. And then you get the hamster wheel, then you get the corporate ladder, then you get that pyramid, right? And the way that he also describes it that resonates me so much is that when people fall into what I would call the ill-dignified energies of the devil card here, he's like they are at they are paused. They're paused in their soul's development at a weighing station. And their fortune is being weighed, right, with their soul growth. Now, he didn't say it in those words. This is what, as I embrace that idea of the weighing station, it really makes sense to me. It makes sense as a stuck energy, that greed, it might feel like it has momentum, right? But it doesn't. It's a stuck energy. And in our culture, we venerate, there's worship toward these people that have all these things and money and, and I'm not saying money's bad. Money's an energy, it's a relationship. I think it's very interesting to work with the relationship to it as it flows, as it waxes and wanes. But we're up against some really, really tricky stuff. And I will tell you right now, I'm going to come back to this video in the future and I'm going to have even more awarenesses about this because this is an issue for me. Okay. And I've had cycles in my life where things are going really well and then where I've been like scraping the bottom. Right. And I think that's not uncommon amongst people to kind of be in these places, or like you get a bunch and then something happens and it goes right back out again. Some people have that. There's like something attractive, but then there's something that repels. And so you'll have situations like that. Whatever your situation is, okay? Bonjour, Derek. Derek's here. Hello. Good old life work. um, we're moving in. So the Wheel of Fortune comes in, and whew, that felt heavy, the first part of that. So here we are. We're trying to make sense of all this, of like how did we get here, what happened to get us in these positions. There's people that are going off grid, there's people that are setting up different methods of exchange, there's people that have gone into the crypto channels, the digital stuff, and there's all kinds of options, right? And it can be, wow, really overwhelming. But we have to also understand we're moving through collectively some really powerful energies of growth, powerful energies of polarity here, and we're learning our way through it. So we're going to, in this whole, when we tell ourselves, I have trouble with spending or saving, right? And I have trouble with money. It's always a thing. This is maybe one of the bigger challenges we all share in this life. And it makes it extremely, even more challenging. Like, not only are we going to make it hard for you, but when you turn on that black box, we're going to show you how good everybody's doing. And and they're sipping champagne and they're eating fancy foods and they have a chef and all this. And we're going to shove that down your throat, you know? Okay, so what we've got to do, because our souls know better, right? Our souls know that there's something bigger. Our souls know that they're making the weighing station, that stuck, stalled out place, look really beautiful. But is it really, right? Is it really moving us into the energies? Is it really evolutionary? Yes and no, right? We live in a universe of contrasting expression. It's evolutionary because it's pushing us in very uncomfortable spaces and places within ourselves and collectively so that change can happen, right? But it looks icky and it's really frustrating, right? And when we get caught up in it, it can really block us and interfere with us just having our own just our own flow with material things and mastering the material world. But with the Wheel of Fortune coming in, this gives me, I feel better. I feel like, again, this is the winds of change coming in. It's very windy outside right now, so I'm really liking that energy. We're going to let some of the heaviness, we're going to, maybe we'll go back to the relaxation timestamp and listen to that again. And we're going to relax ourselves and we're going to come back in because this one kind of gets us, it gets us stressed. We're releasing a lot. It's the Game of Thrones. We've been playing it for, millennia. Ancient stuff, right? This is ancient stuff as well. This is not just the last 2,000 years and plus change. It goes way back, right? It's cycles. And so the Wheel of Fortune is making me feel like I can clear my throat. Okay, I'm going to hydrate myself. And I know, yes, I know there's microplastics in here. It's okay, everybody. We're gonna clear those out too. I'm gonna trust in the power of my body. That's what I'm dealing with right now. But we're gonna let some of these winds of change and the now some of you are gonna equate this energy also to patriarchy. There's a big wave of feminine leaders kind of coming up right now. But I'm going to say one thing about leadership, whether it's masculine or feminine. A true feminine leader does not hate on the masculine, and a true masculine leader does not hate on the feminine. So some of us, these energies that we're using in attracting resources and spending and our ability to save and to save some for ourselves, right? Some of us are very giving too. Like when we get resources, we're like, oh, I'm going to buy my daughter this thing or my son, or I'm going to, we're going to take that trip. And we're constantly having to make all these decisions, right? So I'm going to bring it back around to that. But yeah, these are really big energies. And even I am getting carried away. I've done a lot of readings and I'm getting like, whoosh, pulled up into it. So this may be one that we expand on in the future. If you all are interested, maybe we go into these dynamics. I think it's probably going to be good to take it in bite size because we have so many wounds and triggers and experiences on every side of it. We have experience manifesting things and the blessings that come in, right? And it's really about working with the energy. So I want to get the Hide Tarot here. And if we're looking at it from the perspective of energy, what else do we need to know here? Yeah. Whew. Okay, so I'm going to go into the generational energy that's coming up for sure. So some of you may be beating yourself up a little bit. Yeah, I emotionally spend. I spend money emotionally, makes me feel better about myself. I get that quick fix. Some people are in the position where they buy and then they return things. They have the quick fix of buying, but then they turn around and return it. And they're kind of trapped in spending their time with that cycle. Other people, they'll get it, but they have trouble saving it, holding on to it. Could be from their giving nature, or it could just be there's other things that need taken care of, right? The basics of life kind of thing. Okay, so the generational stuff is coming in. We got the Nine of Swords. Okay. And generational, because look at this painting. I feel like this could be a plethora of ancestors all expressed in this one expression here. And what's really interesting, I'm going to say she is pissed. She's angry. The painting. What kind of feeling does that evoke? So when it comes to resources, we're going to admit that this is hard sometimes. It's maddening. We get angry at the inequality. We get angry that things aren't working out. And she has a little speck of light on her face. And I feel like that's the artist capturing a tear, right? So some of us can be so stressed out about this that we're constantly in this vibe here of the woman here. Just imagine this expression on yourself when it comes to wealth and resources, finances, abundance, right? The Nine of Swords, it's a stressful energy. It's an energy of being frustrated and not being able to maybe see the way out of the frustration. Okay, but it's also very natural part of being human that we will move through these certain emotions. I'm also getting for some of you, this has to do with like a sacred anger. And when I say sacred anger, what I mean is that it's justified in the sense that you want something better for everyone. And it's not happening that way, right? It's unfair, right? So in whatever way you might be dealing with inequality and your life's experiences may have informed you of the inequalities and especially the economic disparity, right? Some of you are justifiably angry. And I am too. And it's not, it's an energy that I think is important because it indicates to us something's not right. This isn't balanced. This could be better. We could. Does anybody need $1 trillion? No. Does anybody really have $1 trillion? No. Does anybody really own the land? And you can have whatever you want about land ownership, any kind of thought you want about it, but I'm with the indigenous people on this. No one owns the planet. They don't own the land. Okay? Nobody really owns it. But the power dynamics are such. No wonder we have problems with this, y'all. No wonder it's hard to call it in when we're dealing with all these forces here. But we're moving from the Nine of Swords to the Rabbit with the Page of Swords. This is a bit more productive kind of a feeling. I feel better about this. I feel that I might see some light through the darkness. I might feel good about the fact that I'm not one of the people stuck in the weighing station. Maybe I've already had that part of my experience. Maybe I've already done that. Maybe that's been a part of a past lifetime. I was in a different Game of Thrones, millennia ago, decades ago. I've played that role of being that person, right? And so this Page of Swords, it's interesting. We've got the productivity of the Rabbit here. I always think productivity. We have some momentum coming in here with these beautiful, almost they look like those flowers that open up at night. What are they called? Oh, they're in one of my tarot decks. I'll have to find the name, but flowers that bloom for moonlight, right? Things are opening up here. We're starting to kind of push through some things. And I think this is going from the 9 to the 10 of Swords to the Page. We've got some work to do. It's not going to feel the best. Some things do have to collapse and some things will have to. And here we are, we're in the middle. I really do believe, evolution can feel like a collapse. So we don't always get to see exactly the positive things that are going to come out of it. But this is a card of hope. I think this gives a bit of hope. It still feels new. It feels adolescent. And so it's a little hard to see. It's a little hard to envision how this might progress. But anyway, this has turned into a really interesting collective reading where there's more going on. I think when it comes to you personally and your issues with spending or saving, this is coming up because it's like, look at the energies, emotional, mental energies, the collective energies that you're facing when it comes to this, and understanding, where you land in all of this. Now, some of the things that I'm saying you might have completely different views on. And guess what? That's okay. That's all a part of the mix here. It's all a part of the momentum. If it was set up in a way where everybody could have everything they need, we would. That's the human your sacred agreement to be here on the planet at this time as a human. You have a sacred agreement with the planet. Remember, no one owns her. She is our mother, right? You have a sacred agreement to be here. You didn't come here to suffer, yet we are breaking through these illusions and these dynamics that are very imprisoning, right? And so some of you feel very imprisoned by these energies. And so it's no wonder you have trouble with that exchange. And so what do we do when we're having trouble? We give ourselves grace. We give ourselves grace and we allow, right? We allow ourselves to learn. We allow ourselves to stay present with ourselves. In those times where we need assistance, we ask for help. In those times where we're able to give. We keep the momentum and energy moving. So the Emperor, the Aries energy would keep it moving, because the only way out is through this dynamic, right? So there's also something like some of you are really fine-tuning where you put your resources. So there's more, feels like with this Wheel of Fortune, there's more reflection coming into play. And maybe some of you have been pushed into a corner with that where you've had to. There's also a lot of people shifting into more alignment with their purpose and less with the previous structures that have provided security. So there's lots of moving parts. That's my point. There are lots of moving parts with this one. So we've got to give ourselves grace. And we're going to see what the masculine might have a couple things to say about this. And we'll see what the feminine has to say as well to close this one off. Woo! Now I want to go back and do that relaxation. Woo, woo, woo. Oh boy. So we got some things coming up here. Now, they may or may not apply personally to you. So take what resonates, leave the rest. Like I always say, the masculine is bringing up guilt wounds, feeling sorry, uses guilt to manipulate, may be afraid to set boundaries. So some of you may be struggling with boundaries with others through your giving heart. Maybe you've been taken advantage of. I know in the current astrology, there's a lot of tendency to fall into scams that look really good, but they're not what they're cracked up to be, the too good to be true kind of stuff. So some of you might be struggling a little bit with that. But also I get, there can be this fear of like, if I make money, if I have resources, I have to feel guilty about that because it's maybe not the most spiritual way to live, or it's so unfair that I have something and there's people out there who have nothing, right? And so there's like a survivor guilt kind of energy. We have to remember that we've been dealing with these energies, like I said, for millennia, for eons. This is presented itself in a different package in a different way. It's definitely part of our evolution, our experience. We'll be letting these things go. We're on the path to let these things go eventually, but we're going to have to, guilt is a very cementing kind of energy. So we have to be able to work through it. I have to be able to say to myself, when I have resources and finances, and abundance comes in many forms, I can save a little for my needs and the needs of my children. And I know that I'm also going to help others when I can, right? When I'm able to. I'm not going to be a hoarder, right? And so working with some of these guilt issues that would kind of block things from coming into you. Because I'm going to say right now, you that are showing up here, creators that find my channel, you are the kind of people that I want you to have the resources, because I know you would be you have the wisdom to be a better steward of it than what we're seeing. You do not want to be at a weighing station stuck and, having your fate weighed. You've probably already done that in the past, right? And some of us, you're going to see from the feminine, have some karmic issues with that. We're going to take responsibility for that. Okay. We are we're not going to hold ourselves back and beat ourselves up into the ground, but we're going to take responsibility. And we're going to also acknowledge that this might be preventing us. We might feel guilty when we have things and others don't, right? I think that's natural. If you're not a psychopath, it's very natural to have compassion and feel empathy for other people's situations. And we got loyalty, which I think is super interesting. So to me, this is speaking to some of you that you do want to be loyal to your family and to future generations, right? But in a way that is, the complexity of what there is to offer. So yes, it's very helpful. I have aspirations to leave something for my children, but I'm going to leave more than just money, right? I'm going to impart a wisdom on them. I'm going to stay loyal to my ideals and my alignment with natural and cosmic law and what is true, right? And I'm going to take responsibility, and I'm going to walk this path, and for some of you, I just got the sense that this is connected to your issues with spending and saving are because you're kind of, and I know there's lots of external forces. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with you. I was doing this as well, but you're not working. The work, okay, that you're doing is not feeding your passion. And so there's the loyalty to maybe whatever work environment you have or business you have. This is what I felt before I left the corporate world. I felt they weren't loyal to me and I wasn't really loyal to them. And I would have all these coworkers be posting on social media, oh, I work for the best company. We went on, we got this extra time off and went on vacation. And I was just like, it still doesn't feel good to me. So some of you are in that struggle of, I'm not really able to work on attracting resources in a way that's in alignment with my soul, my purpose, and what I love to do. And let's face it, there are a lot of external influences, okay? Like if you're trying to write a book, you're trying to write a book and get published, that takes so much time. How are you going to live in the meantime, right? Like it can be done. The J.K. Rowlings of the world, you're out there, right? But I mean, she was living basically in poverty, right? And poverty oftentimes really will stimulate people into, I don't want to live that way. If they live that way as a child and stuff, but there's so many factors going on. So the best, the crowning moment of loyalty of what I want to say is that you remain loyal to your inner work. You remain loyal to walking the path. And if that means you need to take responsibility, you need to face your shadows, there's something you need to heal, a generational issue has fallen on your shoulders, you are going to be a creator, and you are going to know that from the inside out, the outside looks horrible, right? You're like, ew, how could I ever? From the inside out, we're going to go to the place that you have that is powerful. And from the inside out, you're going to change that. Okay. So that inner work has to be there. And the loyalty, first and foremost, comes to that. Now, you can look at this as loyal to a person, right? And maybe you're in a partnership trying to do this. Maybe this is the masculine and feminine energies coming together. Could be, right? The feminine, however, brings up a karmic, and in particular, karmic family relationship with someone in your family who has been brought back from previous lifetimes. I was definitely getting that feeling in the reading. Like we're dealing with millennia of this. We have the generational thing going on. Our goal is to work things out peacefully. Our goal is to work things out peacefully. So this could be impacting us. What our ancestors did, how they were able to save or spend money, what resources they had, right? We're carrying that in ourselves. And so some of us are working out some tricky situations. I know even in the past year, I've had clients dealing with family members who trying to scam them and cross boundaries when it comes to that. You get a lot of, I know so many families where the children have no idea what the financial status of their parents is until they die. No clue. There's no conversations. There's no transparency. What's that all about? What kind of energies are involved? And you'll have to reflect on your specific family. What was it like? What was it like? What are the themes, right? Because I know I have themes coming from my father's side of the family. I have themes coming from my mother's side of the family around this, right? One of the themes was they were really big. Both my parents, beautiful people, very in service to others, in service roles, teacher and minister. And it was, I'm just giving you one example. This is what I've had to reflect on. It was always about being in service to others, which I think is a beautiful sentiment, but I think the new age takes it a little too far, because my child mind, with what they were saying with that and what the stage of development I was at and what I saw them doing, was expending all their energy and being in service to others, no matter what the detrimental effect was on themselves or their marriage. They got divorced. Okay. And so little me said, at all cost, I have to sacrifice myself to help others. Always. Money. I loaned my high school boyfriend like $600 to buy new tires for his car. And when all of our parents found out, that changed really quick. Okay. But that's where my mind was at, because I was helping him. He was a manipulative person, but I was helping him, right? In my mind, I was like, "Oh, I have this in savings. You can have it and get your new rims." Maybe it was rims. I don't know. You know how guys in cars are, teenagers, right? So maybe there's been some of these, maybe you have your own stories. Your stories may not be like mine, but you're like, "Oh yeah. Remember when so and so?" Have you ever been stolen from, y'all? Have you ever like accidentally left your wallet or purse sitting somewhere like at the high school or something and you come back and somebody stole the cash out? Those kinds of experiences, right? It makes you feel just a certain way. It's not good. I've had that happen, been stolen from, and it just ew, you're looking around like, who did this? Who would do this? Why would they do that? And then there's those people who find it and they're like, I'm going to find out who this belongs to. I'm going to return it to the business owner. They left it at the table in the coffee shop and we're going to make sure they get it back. Here you go. And, they do the right thing, right? There's definitely karmic things going on. Some of us inherit that from our families. The feminine energies are reminding us of that. Some of you, it could be to do with your mother's family. I once, in a former life, this lifetime that feels like a former life, I taught high school for a couple years. And there was one girl, her mother was using her Social Security account and ruining credit. Like she ruined her before she even had a chance. Talk about trying to save and have resources and do that when you have a conniving parent who is using you, right? From a young age, right? This is not something, these are not energies. These will come back to you. We've learned, right? We've learned through the many cycles that we creators have been on. And you may feel we're all at different places. It's okay, but through the many cycles, like I really just don't think you're here on my channel by chance. I think you find it because you're doing more. You're doing more within the inner work. And so we've been through these cycles and it can be frustrating when we're like, because our soul knows, our soul is like, again, I have the mother that steals from me. Again, I can't trust my peers. Again, I, sacrifice myself for everyone else, right? And so, this is what we're dealing with. And these are big energies, right? We're up against a lot: materialism and wealth and comparison. The comparison to others is off the chart. And we don't even like the comparison without knowing somebody's true story. That's where it makes no sense. You're comparing yourself to someone and you don't even know. They don't know what road you've walked and you don't know really what road they've walked to get to where they are, right? So it's really easy to judge and it's really easy to compare. All right, I want to get let's see. One more timestamp here. I've gone long today, but it feels good, y'all. It's that solar eclipse, I guess. It's that Aries energy still with me. I want to get a couple messages from the Sacred Traveler Oracle to close us off today. We had a few in the beginning. So just to walk away from this and say, okay, what can we take away from the many topics that we've discussed today? Or maybe you've just tuned into one on the replay, and that's fine. What are some of the highest and best messages, the reminders? Oh, this feels good. And we're allowed to feel good, by the way. We're allowed to feel good. We got solitude. In silence, peace prevails. So that one came up a lot in the relaxation reading, right? Where when we really get quiet, we start to become more embodied. We can find those peaceful moments. So some of you just need a moment. You just need a moment. And I know you're busy parents and I know there's things. Try to carve out a little time for yourself here, because that hermit energy, that solitude, that reconnection with our inner wisdom. And then we got this is good. Rainbow blessings. Blessings are showering in your life. So this would be like something comes in for you, right? You get that tax return. We're dealing with the shit. We're dealing with the shit. We're dealing with the matrix, right? But you get the tax return. It helps you out. All of a sudden, you get paid back on maybe some benefit that you paid into a long time ago. Maybe you're at the coffee shop and somebody pays for your breakfast, just out of the blue. Let's allow those things in. Those are, that pay it forward energy. Yes, you've done it. And so let's let it come back into you as well. Remember, these are cycles we're talking about. Whoop, with the Wheel of Fortune, right? Look at that pinnacle right in the middle. These are cycles. Maybe you're the one who has the ability to go pay for someone's coffee. Maybe you're the one who can donate to a friend whose pet is sick, right? Maybe you can do that. Maybe you're helping them with something, right? Or maybe it's your turn. Maybe the wheels are turning and bringing something back to you. So, whatever it is for you, y'all, it's been an awesome session today. I want to thank everybody who came in. Your comments and your engagement have been just incredible. I think this solar eclipse really kind of got us all buzzing. And even I had like a kind of a late start this morning and I was looking at the wrong clock, but it still all works out so beautifully. Be sure to check back if you're available next Friday at the same time. And then also Sunday, the April 6th and Sunday, April 20th, if you're available in the evening, my time, 7 to 8 p.m. Central, that's when I do the live Q&A. So you can come on and ask your own question and get a personalized mini reading for you. Also, for those of you watching, and you might be interested, you might have already taken advantage, but I do have a special going on right now for a few more days till the end of March. It's a $20 mini reading. So it's all about you. You can send me like 2-3 questions, your theme, and I'm going to dive as deep as I can for this reading. I do about 3 to 5, maybe 6 cards for you and go into answering your questions. It kind of depends on what you ask, but I do those through Messenger, on Instagram or Facebook, or via email if you do not have Messenger there. So if you're interested in that, check out my Instagram story, my Facebook story at Creators on the Crest. You can DM me if you're interested. I can send you the link, right? You can check that out. I have that listed there, and it's just a spring equinox special where it's just a nice check-in. So if you're just looking for a check-in and to get grounded, that is there. All right, everybody, it's been such a pleasure from my heart to yours. I wish you all the creative energy that you're looking for and many, many blessings. I hope you have a wonderful day or evening wherever you are, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.